Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on Cobbler's Vlogs. We finally got our man Lee Charles TV is joining us, and it's very strange to say good morning to everybody. It's not like I've ever done a stream at 10 to 11 in the morning. But thank you very much, Lee, for coming on. Obviously, we couldn't get hold of you last night. That's not a problem.
You're welcome.
We've got you
It's all
now.
right.
We're here to talk about this weekend's game against Blackpool. Thank you to everybody that's joined us. Adam Page has already got it wrong in the comments. He said evening, or then he's put afternoon, or I'm expecting the next comment to hopefully be good morning, or because that's what it is. But thank you to everybody that's joining us live, and thank you to everybody that's watching this back as a video. If you could hit subscribe, leave a like, all that kind of YouTube-y stuff, then that would be awesome. Lee, first of all, welcome along to the channel. We've obviously started to see a lot of restrictions ease across the country in terms of lockdowns and stuff like that. Are you managing to get out and about, get to the pub, go out with your mates and stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit. Things have lightened up a little bit, but I'm so used to being inside doing all this YouTube stuff that it's kind of become a life anyway. So we're not going out that much anyway. But I have been going a little bit out around Blackpool and filming and doing that sort of thing. So yeah, things are slowly but surely, but we need to get football back in our lives, don't we? That's the thing we're all missing. We're all, you guys will all be the same as us. You're just desperate to get back in the ground, and you're probably thinking down in Northampton that if only the fans were there, if we were just there and we were, you'd cheer them on. And it's difficult at both ends of the table, really. I would imagine. We've struggled because we have such a loud fan base at home. There's a couple of games at home where really, we've played teams that we should have beaten, and we're all thinking if we'd have just been in the ground, we could be automatic now, really. And I'm sure it's the same for you as well. You're thinking if we could just go and cheer the lads on, they might not be in the situation where you are. So it's been strange times, hasn't it?
Absolutely, I think you're right with that one. I think as well, if we'd have been there, we certainly, in terms of our position in the league table, we would have been able to tell the players what we think of it as well, and that probably maybe would have made them buck their ideas up a little bit and sort themselves out and try and get us out of the mess that we're in. And this game on Saturday, which we're going to come on to in a little bit, is definitely a game that we would love to be at. I know, obviously, I don't know if you've ever been to Sixfields, but there's a massive hill. It's kind of at the bottom of this huge hill. And I think some
we're going to stand on it and watch.
are planning on watching it as long as they're in a group of six and they're socially distanced. There's no problem. Let's talk about Blackpool then. Obviously, you're up in the playoff places at the minute. You're in fifth, and what I'd do to be in fifth, I would snap your hand off for it. How has your season been so far overall? How has it started, and how is it that you've got into this position?
Well, it's been a weird season. You probably know the history of Blackpool and what we've been through, and the fact we finally got the Oyston family out of the club, and we were on a fans boycott for 5 years, where I didn't go to the matches and I didn't go with my sons and all that, which is a long time. 5 years, trust me, it's a long time not going to football. We finally got rid of them. We got new owners in. Simon Sadler, who's a lifelong Blackpool fan, but he's got a lot of money, and he's putting his money where his mouth is at the moment. So we started off the season with a lot of expectation, really. We brought a new coach in at the back end of last season called Neil Critchley, who's come from Liverpool under 23s academy. He came in at the back end of last season, the season before, and then he's just started a new season this season, brought in loads of new players. He's an untried coach at this level. He's never coached proper football before, so nobody really knew how it was going to be at the start of the season, because we didn't know how he was going to cope with third division football, League One football, as opposed to coaching under 23s. And we didn't know how he was going to get all these players to gel, because we more or less got a new team right from the start. But during the pre-season, we played Everton, and we were like 3-0 up in 12 minutes against Everton at home, thinking, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. You know what I mean? Then we played, a few other clubs. Then they arranged a fixture with Liverpool away, and we were beating Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield, just leading up to half time. The equalizer, they got a goal back on half time, but then he kind of changed the entire team for this. He just brought a load of whole new young kids on that. We actually got smashed 7-2 in the end, which was kind of weird, really, because but up with our first team in the first half, we were winning 2-1. So every Blackpool fan that you would talk to is thinking, we're just going to walk this league. It's going to be it's going to be so easy. If we can beat Everton, we can beat Liverpool, and you've no chance. It just didn't start off well at all. We went away to Plymouth, the first game of the season. Came up against this young keeper that just pulled off wonder save after wonder save from us, and we let a stupid goal in from a corner within 5 minutes, and then it was just all Blackpool. We lost, and then a few more defeats. We were Gillingham away, which was terrible. They did all the typical Gillingham stuff that we all hate, all the time wasting and all the rest of it, and ruining it, stopping us playing, and it wasn't looking so good. And a lot of fans were starting to question whether Critchley really knew what he was doing, and then it's just turned around. He just turned it around. We have really got a very good team on our day. On our day, we're a very, very good team. If Blackpool come and play the way we know we can play, you've basically got no chance. But we never know as fans which Blackpool team's going to turn up. And of course, we seem to play better against bigger teams. You just look at the last 4 games. We had Sunderland home and away. So we beat Sunderland at home, and then we had Rochdale away, which everybody would have assumed was a straightforward win. We lost 1-0. And we got Shrewsbury Town, who are poor, if I'm being honest. They're not a great side.
No, yeah.
We lose to them. They're like our ultimate bogey team. And then we go to Sunderland on Tuesday night and win away again. So with I don't know if you've seen it, a Kai wonder goal. Maxwell did pull off some Gordon Banks sort of saves as well to keep us in it. But you just can't believe the 2 games we've watched against Sunderland, and then we come up against Rochdale, who were in a similar position to you, or they were second at the bottom of the league when we played him, and we lose to him. So you've got a chance, because we don't seem to do very well against teams in your position. So that should give you a little bit of hope, I would think. Maybe you can beat us, because we just can't seem to beat teams that are battling for their lives, teams that park the bus and that sort of thing. We just really struggle with. So I don't know how you're going to play on Saturday, because I know you need to win this, don't you? It's kind of a must-win game. You can't draw it. You've got to win. So you may be having to attack us, and if you do attack us, and don't park the bus, we are a bit scary.
Opposition fans.
I want it right. Sorry, just 1 second. I want it down the drive, as near to the garage. Yes, please. Yeah. Sorry, this skipper's just arrived that we're talking about. This is a major problem we've got, but just arrived right now.
No worries. If you need to hop off, just feel free and let us know. But in terms of your promotion at the minute, you're 5th in the table, as we've already mentioned. I think, I don't know what your permutations are, but you've got a game in hand than everybody. So a win should pretty much all but secure your playoff place this season. How confident would you be that you get promoted in the playoffs at the moment? Lincoln, Sunderland, yourselves, and Portsmouth, Oxford could creep in there. Charlton could as well. There's a slim chance. I don't think MK Dons will, but they could. No. How confident would you feel in winning the playoffs and getting yourselves into the championship?
Well, Blackpool are the best playoff team, in history. There's nobody won as many playoffs as Blackpool. Every promotion we've had has been through the playoffs over the last 20 odd years. We've won the playoff finals in every division. We went down to the bottom division. We came up in the playoffs again with while we're all not a penny more as well. So we are the world's best playoff team, but that doesn't mean anything, because this is not the same team that's played all the other ones. But historically, sorry, just 1 second. Okay. Well, they just have to leave it wherever he can. You have to leave it. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So, with regard to the playoffs, we normally come in Blackpool into the playoffs as a sort of like an underdog that comes with a great finish, and we normally get ourselves in the playoffs on the last day of the season. That's notoriously with that. We come in 6th place and win. We haven't been playing quite so well. We've kind of lost our way. We were beating Lincoln 2-0 away from home with 10 minutes to go and let 2 goals in. It's just kind of knocked our confidence. So Blackpool fans are not quite as confident as we normally are, because normally we are the in-form team going in. And I think, you need to be that in-form team. And especially if you creep in on the last day, it can be very good for you. So So whether we're confident or not, I don't know. But all of the top teams we've actually taken points off. All of them. The only ones we haven't taken points off are Lincoln, and that's because we've given 2 games. Really, we're winning 2-1 at home with about 7 minutes to go, and then we put a stupid ball across to Husband in the center of defense, and he kind of miscued it, and then he had to chase the guy back, and he ended up tripping him over and giving away a penalty and getting sent off. 5 minutes to go, and then they scored. Their centre half scored a goal with the last kick of the game, where we let him have about 3 keepy ups in the box before he actually scored. So that's how it was at home. So we lost them at home from a winning position, and then I say we should have been 5 or 6-0 up against them at Lincoln. We were all over him, and then I don't know. Jerry Yates got in the way of a shot that was going in. Our own guy got in the way of it. Would have been 3-0, and of course they came back and equalised 2-2 because we didn't take our chances. So we have the beating of anybody in that top, any of them, but we also, as I said to you before, Blackpool can also be awful on the day. So I don't know whether I'm confident or not, to be honest. I'm not even confident we're in the playoffs yet. If you're gonna nail me down to it, we could still fail to get in.
Yeah.
Things could just go wrong.
It's certainly, I think the playoff fight, and maybe not so much promotion, but the playoff fight is probably going to come down to the last day as to who gets in there, because it does look quite tight at the minute.
Really
I was listening
tight.
to a podcast at the start of the season, another podcast that were talking about their kind of predictions for the season, and one of them said Blackpool were going to be their dark horses, and it certainly seems that you've been that, because you obviously, like you said, you had a fairly average start to the season. You kind of worked your way up maybe over these last few months. Just cast your mind back to February the 2nd, which was when the reverse fixture was played. Obviously, you beat us by 2-0. All I can remember from that game is it was obviously one of Keith Curl's last games in charge, and that we had an absolute clanger from a corner where you guys scored the first one. I think our keeper missed the ball, and it kind of just hit one of our defenders and just went in. And then the second one, I think you guys put it down to Jerry Yates' skill. We put it down to our defenders being a bit rubbish, as well as some Jerry Yates' skill as well. What did you make of us in that reverse fixture? Because apart from that, I just remember it's quite a scrappy, boring affair.
Yeah, it wasn't really a classic, was it? Like you're saying the first goal was a gift, wasn't it? The Jerry Yates goal, I know you're going to blame your defense for it, but honestly, it's from our point of view, and probably from my point of view, it's one of the greatest goals I've ever seen any Blackpool player ever score, because he had like 3 men around him, didn't he? He kind of doubled back, did a Cruyff turn, then dummies your keeper and went round, and then slotted it in the far corner. It was just we just don't see goals like that at Blackpool. Very rarely, do we see, that sort of clash. You'd be going back to blooming Matthews and, Stan Mortensen in the 50s to see something like that. So, for me, it was just an amazing goal. But like I say, it wasn't really in context with the rest of the game. And it kind of came out of nowhere. And we were sort of, probably if you're watching my stream, we're a bit dodgy in the last 10 minutes, Blackpool defending, and we go a bit kicking it anywhere and panicking, and I can't remember if I'd been through that with you, whether you were coming at us towards the end. I can't actually quite remember it. I just remember it being a little bit, the goal came as such a surprise, and of course the game was over there. I didn't see you as a great team, and I have nothing to fear from that. If I was basing my views of Northampton Town on that game, I would imagine we'd trounce you tomorrow, but I haven't seen the way you play and the way you play at home. I know you've been really good at home. So, there's nothing that stands out in my mind as to you being a great team this season. Unfortunately, sorry.
I think the main thing I remember is it was at the time where there was restrictions on the BBC reporters, so they couldn't travel to the game. So we had to listen to the Radio Lancashire commentary, and I can't remember who was on comms. But I remember them laughing at our defence, at kind of how bad we were, and that was just as much as it was funny, it was also quite embarrassing for us as well. So it's not a night that I've got kind of fond memories of. Let's talk about how you've been doing recently. Then you kind of touched on it a little bit at the start, but obviously last time out you beat Sunderland. Before that you lost to Shrewsbury and Rochdale in your last 3 games. that's kind of music to my ears, the fact that you're doing okay against the big teams and not so well against the teams around you, because we've been pretty much doing the same. We've been doing all right against the likes of you guys, and not so well against, you know, the teams that are around us. You know, we lost to Wigan, we've lost to Burton this season, but we've got points off Ipswich. We drew with them, we beat them last week. You know, teams that are up there, we seem to be doing okay against. So tell us about how you've been doing recently.
Well, that's the thing, really. It's probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, I did a show which was like, can we get automatic? And Blackpool, there's two things with Blackpool. There's one, we had a lot of games in hand because we had a couple of games cancelled through a frozen pitch. And we also came up against a few of these COVID games where teams couldn't play us because they had COVID. So we ended up with like 4 or 5 games, 6 games in hand on some teams. And we've been going probably since February, Saturday, Tuesday, you know, week in, week out. And we've just got this horrendous amount of injuries on top of everything else. You know, we've got so many players out injured. We've got a full team probably of first team players who are out injured. I'm talking about Gary Medine, Keshi Anderson, CJ Hamilton, Kevin Stewart was out, Matty Virtue, Marvin Ekpiteta. So all these were like first team players, and we've managed to win these games, just keep slotting in different players. I think we've had 9 different centre half partnerships since February this season. Anyway, we've had 9 different ones, and of course we played Sunderland on Tuesday, and Kai scored the wonder goal, and Grant Ward, who was, you know, many fans will be saying was joint man of the match with Maxwell, who played like Gordon Banks, you know, did pull off 3 or 4, you know, unbelievable saves. But Grant Ward played, and they both went off injured. Sunderland again, you know, last time we played Sunderland at home, Daniel Gretterson, who's a centre half, they dislocated his shoulder for him, and then they beat another 2 of our players. So they're a bit brutal, Sunderland, actually. They've kind of bullied us in 2 games. So we don't know whether Kai and Ward are going to be playing, and if we are, I don't know who's, you know, that's a big loss to Blackpool again, so that could work in your favour. And it's just injuries really that has probably stopped us. Injuries and this relentless grind of, you know, Saturday, Tuesday. It has stopped us getting automatic. I mean, even these last few weeks, we've dropped 2 points against Lincoln, which from a winning position where we're 2-0 up with, you know, 10 minutes to go. We've lost to Rochdale, which, you know, probably bust every bookies coupon in the land. We lost to Shrewsbury, which again probably bookies will be laughing because loads of coupons will be down. People, you know, backing Blackpool as that's, you know, nailed on. So just those 8 points over the last 2 weeks, we would be, if we win the game in hand that we've got on Peterborough, we'd be 1 point behind them going to the last 2 games. That's what we've thrown away, and that's just, you know what I mean? So you can see the Blackpool fans are a little bit disappointed, because I would have liked to have got automatic and not have to go through the playoffs. And yet now, you know, we're talking about, are we going to get in the playoffs? And at one time, you know, if you'd have gone back a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking we were nailed on for the playoffs because we had so many games in hand and we were in them. You know, we're in the playoffs with games in hand, and we've made it incredibly difficult on ourselves, and we've kind of pulled it back a little bit with winning at Sunderland, and results did go in our favour on Tuesday night. You know, a couple of teams that let late goals in. Portsmouth let a late equaliser in, and Charlton did. I think it was injury time, wasn't it, for both of them? So we've got ourselves, it's back in our hands again. But unfortunately, we've got 3 teams that, you know, we've got you that we're battling for your lives. We've got Bristol Rovers, who will be down on the last game of the season. So they're already down. So we don't know what they're going to do when they turn up. They could have a lot of kids in, or they could be just, you know, happy to just murder us because there's no pressure on them. And then we've got Doncaster Rovers, who have gone completely off the boil, haven't they? You know, they were looking dead certs for automatic a while ago, but they've gone off. So we don't know. It's Blackpool fans will definitely want to win this one on Saturday. You know, we will, because it will take a lot of pressure off us. And if we do lose, we're back to got to win the last 2 games, and you don't know how results are going to go. So, but we're not, I'm not sat here thinking we're going to breeze you away by any stretch of the imagination. I'm expecting a really tough game, really tough.
It's certainly interesting that you mentioned the whole Saturday Tuesday thing and how that's caused injuries, because I think probably in the last maybe 2 months we've kind of maybe relied on 14 players, to get us through. We've had people out of position. We've had the likes of Mikael Miller. John Brady's come out and said he's only fit to play 45 minutes. There was one game where he was the best player by a mile in the first half, and he came off at half time. We were like, well, what's going on here? And Brady said he's only fit enough to play that 45 minutes anymore, and he could be shot. So it sounds like the Saturday, Tuesday hectic schedule has taken its toll on you, and it's definitely kind of taken its toll on us. And I think the reverse fixture that we were talking about earlier was cancelled about 4 times. I think it was supposed to be on a Saturday originally. Then I remember our kind of journalists travelling up to the game for it then to be postponed, like as they arrived, and then they had to drive back. And so yeah,
it was the last minute, wasn't it?
Everybody this season, yeah. So let's talk about some of your players that actually are fit. I was going to talk about, obviously we knew that Keshy Anderson was injured. He's been out for most of the season, but he's a former cobbler. So just quickly on him, if you have any chance to see him, have you made much of him just from a former player's perspective for us?
Yeah, he got his injury pretty early on in the season, actually. Probably about 10 or 12 games in, I think, and he's been out for most of the season. But what I saw of him from pre-season and what I saw of him at the start of the season, I really quite like him, and he's a heck of a unit. And he's really muscly and strong, isn't he? And yeah, we've kind of missed him. I liked him. But he's been out so long that even he is apparently training now, and he's kind of want to be back in the team, but of course he's not had any match time. So if he's on Saturday, which he might have to be thrown in, he might well be thrown in. He hasn't had any game time at all, so I can't really say. But I do like the look of him. I did like the look of him, but it's been a long-term injury, almost a season-long injury. So we've not really seen the best of him.
And then if you just want to give us another kind of 2 or 3 names that we should be looking out for. Sully Kai I had written down. I had Kevin Stewart as well. Jerry Yates and Ellis Sims were all written down for me. How are they all doing? And anyone else that you think to be a threat to the Cobblers?
Jerry Yates, obviously, you know what I mean? But he hasn't scored in quite a few games. So he's due a goal, and he is a great player, and he is dangerous, and he's kind of carried Blackpool on his own because nobody else is scoring. And really, there's not many players have got past 5 goals, I don't think, other than him. So he's a threat. Kai, we do a stream, and I have a guy that comes on the reviews and says he has a twin brother who sometimes plays, and he doesn't play quite as well as the Kai when he plays, so we're never quite sure it's going to be Kai or Kai's twin brother that's on. But if his twin brother turns up, if he's fit, we don't even know if he's going to be fit because he hobbled off on Tuesday night, so we don't know. But if you get Kai not his twin brother, then he is a real danger. He's got skills that not many players have, and you've probably seen his goal against Sunderland. It was unbelievable. It almost took the back of the net out. Other than that, attacking wise, we have this lad called Dimitri Mitchell, who came from United, signing from United. He's in United Youth. He's pretty fast and can be quite dangerous, or he can't be quite. It all depends. As say with Blackpool, there's no guarantees on any of these players. We don't know which formation we're going to play either, and you probably won't either. We were playing 4-4-2, and fans were. So we were playing at the start of the season 4-3-3, and we had Medine and Yates, and he wasn't playing them, and every fan was screaming to have Medine and Yates up front and play a 4-4-2. He changed it to 4-4-2, and we started playing really well. And then Medine got injured, and then he brought this Ellis Sims in, who's a young lad from Everton, who you mentioned. He's going to be a great player in the end, but he's not the finished article yet. I mean, he's young. He's only 21, and he's not the finished article. They're trying to play him as Gary Medine, and he's not. So then they had a 4-4-2 with him and Yates in, and that wasn't working. So fans were screaming for him to change the system and go back to a 4-2-3-1 system, which he did, and that was working. And then he sort of abandoned that. He's gone to a 4-4-2, and then against Sunderland we played a 5-3-1 against Sunderland, which we've never played before. So We don't know. I can't really tell you what we're going to play, how we're going to turn up, how good a team we are, and how we're going to cope with a team like you that are battling for their lives. So, as I say, to say I'm confident about this game, not really.
Good stuff.
I'm not. So, it's maybe giving you some hope. We'll give Northampton some hope.
Every opposition fan comes on and does that, and then they go and beat us. So don't worry, you'll probably win now. The final thing I want to ask you, or second to last thing I want to ask you, is kind of two questions in one. The first one is kind of who you think the worst team, or who you think are going to get relegated, and I'm going to kind of go through all the permutations in just a second, and then we'll get a score prediction from you. The first one is that AFC Wimbledon are on is it 19th? I think something like that. Let me just quickly get the table. I think it's 18th or 19th. So AFC Wimbledon are in 19th with 50 points. They play Portsmouth and Lincoln in their last two games. Wigan are 20th with 48 points, playing Hull and Swindon in their last two games. Rochdale above us in 21st, 44 points. They play Doncaster and MK Dons. And then obviously we are level on points with Rochdale, having to play Blackpool and Sunderland on the last two games of the season. The thing that worries me most about kind of our fate is if obviously we have to win these two games to at least stand a chance of staying up.
You've got two toughies as well. You've got Blackpool and Sunderland.
Yeah,
could have been worse really for you, could it?
Yeah,
to finish
our goal difference. So AFC Wimbledon's goal difference -14. Wigan's is -20. Rochdale's is -19. Ours is a -23. So if we do win the last two games and we're level on points, our goal difference is what's going to let us down. So that's kind of what's concerning me at the minute. But in terms of obviously, I assume you've played all the other teams, Wimbledon, Rochdale, and Wigan, and obviously us. Who do you think is going to go down out of those four?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, AFC Wimbledon are on 50 points, aren't they? And
I think they're safe.
I would normally, on any normal season, you would say 50 points you're safe, aren't you? Every team wants to get to 50 points. Sometimes you need 51. And I think teams have gone down historically on 52. And don't quote me because I'm not quite sure, but most times even 49 points will get you safe. I've seen loads of times where 49 points has been enough. So I would say there's Wigan who you've got to catch, isn't there? Really?
Yeah.
I know you can get to 50 points, but then again, your goal difference is so much worse against Wimbledon, isn't it? Really? How much is your goal difference on?
Ours is -23, and theirs is -14. So theirs is considerably better than ours.
So I think you can. I know it's the hope that kills you in this game, but I think you can probably rule out Wimbledon as a threat. You're not going to get 9 unless they get absolutely smashed in the last two games. I mean, you never know. I mean, a 9-goal swing can happen, can't it? Because if they get, it's just they get smashed 5-0 and they get smashed 3-0 and you win a couple of games 2-0.
They're playing Portsmouth and Lincoln, who are both kind of going for automatic.
Yeah, so they could get. They could. So you're going to have to do really well, though. You're going to have to win these last two, and you're going to have to beat us, and then you're going to have to go to Sunderland and beat them. So it can be done. It can be done.
I think Rochdale is probably the difficult one because they're playing Doncaster and MK Dons, who may be on the beach, as it said, and obviously they're level on points of us. So there's a chance that Rochdale could win their last two games, and then Wigan are playing Hull, which hopefully smash them, and Hull will still get the title, and Swindon are already relegated. So like you said about Bristol Rovers with you guys, whether they play a bit more freedom or Swindon stick the kids out, we don't really know yet. Let's have your thoughts then on this Saturday afternoon. How do you see it going? You've already said we expect a bit of a battle. Let's get a score prediction from you, please.
Well, I'm Blackpool and we need to win. So I hate predicting Blackpool to win because I'm like the kiss of death, if I'm being honest. If I do, but I've got to predict it. Even though I have really, even though I don't want to on this street. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 to Blackpool.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Adam Page,
got to go for a win, and I'm sorry to say that, but that's probably good for you that I am predicting a win because my predictions. In fact, historically, I always used to back on things that I didn't want to win. So I I would back on you winning to lose and Blackpool win. You know what I mean? And when we played Cardiff in the final, I stuck 20 quid on Cardiff. When Andy Murray was playing against Djokovic, I stuck 20 quid on Andy Murray because I wanted him to win Wimbledon. I hated Djokovic, so I was jumping up and down. I lost me 20 quid and all that because normally I'm just not good at predicting or betting on anything. So if there's anything I want to actually go wrong, I should have backed Croatia. That's the one thing I didn't do. That's the one thing I regret more than anything else ever. I should have just stuck 20 quid on Croatia because they'd have never beat England in that World Cup final. But anyway, I just forgot to do it. But so that's will probably mean a Northampton win for you guys. And if you actually beat Sunderland, there's a chance that if Sunderland lose the last 2 games, they might not even make the playoffs, which would be
about the playoffs. Yeah, that would be quite funny.
That would be really.
We're kind of hoping that Sunderland secure their playoff status by the time they play off, so that they rest all their players for the playoffs. Adam Page has gone for a 2-1 Cobblers win. He's obviously one of our regular viewers and is a Cobblers fan, so it's going to be interesting. I would say I'm looking forward to the game, but I'm not. I'm very nervous. But I think I'd probably rather that our relegation was confirmed this weekend than we beat you guys, get our hopes up for Sunderland, and then they beat us in the last minute or something. So yeah, just get it confirmed.
It's the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you in this game. But sometimes if you do go down, sometimes you can have a fantastic season, come back up, and just really fly. Again, the whole promotion thing can change things for your clubs. So it's never over. Football's never over.
Absolutely,
it never ends.
We've got Jack Tong in the chat. He's a good friend of ours. He's a Lincoln City fan. I think you should know that, Lee. So he wants us to do you a favour. So we'll be doing everything for you, Jake. Don't you worry. And as long as you go and beat the Posh promotion, we'll beat Blackpool for you. Lee, it's been a pleasure. Thank you having you on. Adam Page has one of the funniest streams. Fantastic double act. Thank you very much, Adam. It's been a pleasure having you on, Lee. Just tell us about your channel, obviously, and where we can find you on YouTube, Twitter, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, it's called Lee Charles TV. It's on YouTube. Just search for Lee Charles TV. On Twitter, we are at Lee Charles TV. On Instagram, we are at Lee Charles TV. It's all very simple. That's good where we are. Cool. We do at the moment. We're doing like everybody else. We're doing live watch-alongs, and they're very stressful because if you watch a football match with me, there's loads of people I've actually met who say they could never sit with me in a match in reality because it's just too stressful, especially 10 minutes. In fact, if you want to get a sample of what it's like, just watch the last 10 minutes of the Sunderland game on my stream, and you'll see how you need heart attack pills to be on the stream with me. As my blood pressure's gone through the roof, and everybody just watch the last 10 minutes, and you'll see me screaming at the ref. Even Jane was falling out with me in the stream as well. It was comical, really, because I was so stressed out, and it was It's different gravy watching the last 10 minutes for me, honestly. You will laugh your head off if you watch me against Sunderland.
I'll definitely I'll mute the commentary on iFollow it and get you on alongside and watch along with you. Thank you very much for coming on, and we'll once we've gone off air, I'll stick your channel link in the description as well, so that anyone that wants to go and check you out, please do. Right. So yeah, Lee, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you to the few of you that have tuned in live. Very much appreciated at 20:11 on a Friday morning. We know a lot of people are very busy at that time, but yeah, thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in live. Thank you. If you're watching this back as a video, please make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that.
Yes, give him a like, give him a subscribe. It's hard work doing this YouTube stuff, isn't it?
Exactly.
You gotta put a lot of effort into it, and of course, I didn't turn up last night, so thank you very much.
Especially when you got to chase up your guests,
and of course, Skip's arriving. I've been waiting for this Skip so long, so I can't believe it's arrived. I'll take you a picture of it on my drive now, so it's actually believe me that I've been doing all this stuff. But anyway, thanks a lot. Stuff. It's been a pleasure.
Cool. Thank you very much.
And best of luck to the Cobblers. We're all listen. I've learned one thing with being a YouTuber, and that's football fans. We're all just one big family, and I've got to know loads of different fans from different clubs, and I see things differently now with being a YouTuber. I don't know if you do. You probably you normally see Northampton, and you just they're just the enemy, but it's kind of changed a lot over these years, and we kind of feel a little bit sorry for you. Obviously, I don't want to send you down, if I'm being honest. It's not something I'd like to do, but Football's
stuff.
football, and we need to win. So do apologise
That's it.
if we do. We're not being mean bags on you. So
well, I'm sure I'm sure we'll definitely keep in touch after Saturday, whatever happens, and maybe we'll meet in the Carabao Cup next year, or the Pizza Cup, or something like that if we get relegated. So
you never know.
We'll meet again. Don't you worry. Lee, thank you very much.
We just want Jake in the playoffs. That's it. We need
yeah,
legacy.
exactly.
We need to stuff Jake. It's about time we beat him.
Go and get him. Good stuff. Well, thanks very much, everybody.
All right, thank you
very much to Lee, and to everybody. We will see you all later up the Cobblers. We'll see you later.
Yes.
Bye bye.